When I tell you I nearly drove off the road laughing when I saw those two alien-looking houses parked right on top of my mountain, believe me, it wasn't because anything about it was funny. No, it was that weird, stunned kind of laugh, the kind that escapes when you realize civilization has crawled up your favorite quiet spot and set up shop without even so much as a text message. Picture this. After a year away, thinking I'd come back to the smell of wet pine and a rusty old gate, I find glass walls, a fresh blacktop driveway, and two mailboxes sporting names I'd never heard of, one of them painted with HOA-approved colors, brass number plate gleaming in the morning light. I just sat in my truck, shaking my head, boots still muddy from the real world, staring at what used to be my land, now apparently under new management. I mean, the first house looked like some eco-friendly magazine spread, with an SUV angled for maximum Instagram likes. But the second house, oh, that one was loud. I'm talking bright yellow paint, wind chimes, a sign reading Mountain Vista HOA President, Claudia Bell. Yeah, my eyebrow shot up so high it nearly left my forehead. HOA. Here. The nearest thing to a grocery store is a bait shop 8 miles downhill. I decided right then I'd see how deep this rabbit hole went. Before I could even get the dust off my jacket, out storms this woman, perfect hair, hot pink sweater, cell phone basically glued to her hand. She looks at me like she's spent her whole life practicing the get off my lawn speech, only to finally meet her moment. "Excuse me, this is private property," she shouts, eyes blazing. I look around all slow and deliberate and say, "Yeah, I know. It's mine." She laughs, not the fun kind, but the type that comes from someone who's never been told no. She's waving her phone in my face now, threatening to call the HO. I just lean on my truck, cross my arms and tell her to go ahead. So she hits speaker, and out blasts the voice of Claudia, Queen of Mountain Vista. "If he's there, tell him this property was absorbed by the HOA after abandonment. He has no rights up there anymore." I swear a chipmunk even stopped to listen. Now that's the kind of line you keep in your pocket for later. I just smiled real slow and told her, "That's cute. Let's see how long it lasts." She froze, wind swirling around us, her phone still on speaker. I got in my truck and drove away before she could regroup. Wasn't anger driving me, it was curiosity. I needed to know, how did two houses appear on my land in under a year? I'd left after a wildfire scare, cabin untouched, deed locked up in a safe deposit box. Now my mountain had apparently been annexed by people with more ambition than sense. That night in a cheap motel, I sipped terrible coffee and dove into county records. And wouldn't you know it, nothing about a Mountain Vista HOA, no official subdivision, nothing but my name on 50 acres surveyed 20 years ago. In the morning I brought my drone, flew it over the ridge and recorded every inch: new houses, unauthorized road, fences brushing up against my trees, even a power line run through my old trench. Every violation a little present for later. Next I played delivery guy. Clipboard, confident walk. Same woman came out, less sure of herself. "You're trespassing," she said. "Can you spell your last name for the record?" I asked, keeping it all business. She gave it, just proud enough to think she was still in charge. I wrote it down, smiled, and told her she'd be hearing from me. Called the sheriff on my way down just to check the parcel. Still in my name, no transfer, no sale. Deputy even sounded bored. Whoever's up there doesn't have authorization. And for the first time I laughed, a real from-the-gut kind of laugh. They'd built castles on sand, and the tide was coming in. That night at the diner, I dropped Mountain Vista HOA into the local gossip circuit. Forks stopped midair, heads turned, and a guy in a trucker hat just grinned. "Them city folks think they own half the county," he chuckled. "Built those glass boxes last spring. Claimed they had permits, but paperwork says otherwise. Good luck." I told him luck wasn't my plan. When I got back to my cabin, my old creaky lived-in cabin, the air felt charged, like the mountain itself was holding its breath. I walked my property lines with a flashlight, metal stakes still there, hammered in by my dad decades ago, now somehow poking up under someone else's patio. I ran my hand along one and whispered, "Welcome home, old man. We're about to have some fun." Next morning, 2 HOA goons rolled up in golf carts and handed me a letter. Fake letterhead, official warnings about unapproved structures, and improper fencing. I taped it right next to my deed. Every story needs a good beginning, And this was shaping up to be a great one. Soon as the fog lifted, I was sipping coffee on my porch, watching those shiny houses breathing like they owned the place. I could hear their air conditioners, smart doorbells, felt like a bad real estate ad. But I wasn't mad anymore. Anger's for amateurs. I wanted them to feel safe, comfortable, like they could get away with it, so they'd keep talking, keep climbing. Because the higher you get on a stolen ladder, the funnier it is when the whole thing snaps. Around 9, I pulled up to the community center, which was just a folding table in Claudia's driveway. She looked exactly how I pictured. Late 50s, crisp blouse, perfume strong enough to be a warning label. I sauntered up, cheerful as a birthday clown. "You're not on the list," she said, icy. "I own property here," I replied, smiling. "Figured it was time I got involved." She handed me guidelines. Looked like they'd been whipped up in Word by someone drunk on self-importance. Fines for unapproved paint, for having outdoor tools, for not driving an electric car. All signed by her. No county stamp, no legal anything. "So who exactly authorized this?" I asked. "The community did," she said, voice shaky under the bravado. "We declared the land inactive when you left, took responsibility, protected values." She tried to sound sharp, but I could see the cracks. "So you built houses on private land, then made up rules for it?" I asked. She got defensive. "Don't twist my words." "Wouldn't dare," I said, flashing the phone, red light blinking. "This is a public meeting, right?" That shut her up. Her board members looked like they wanted to melt into the folding chairs. I handed over my card, told her she might want to check with the county clerk. "If my land's under your HOA, you're liable for everything on it. Enjoy that." The rest of the day, Claudia called the sheriff so many times the poor man might have thought he was on a reality show. He came up, checked my paperwork, deed boundary survey, the works. "Still belongs to him," he told her. "No HOA jurisdiction up here." She stormed inside, face pale as yogurt, while the sheriff muttered, "You'd be surprised how many HOA folks think they're Congress." By now, I was documenting everything. Drone footage, photos, fake letters, the HOA's Facebook posts, ribbon cuttings, big grins, and our vision realized. Captions all on stolen dirt. The next twist? Claudia's son showed up. 20-something, nervous. "Mr. Carter, I'm sorry for what my mother's done. She just doesn't know when to quit." I nodded, told him the mountain isn't kind to people who try to outsmart it. He apologized again, said they'd leave soon. Didn't take long for the county to get involved. Surveyors marked the lines, orange stop work, notices went up, and those houses, once buzzing with pride, went dark, driveways empty. Claudia tried to rent hers out as an Airbnb, advertising exclusive access to private trails. My trails. I just filmed the tourists, told them the truth, and the listing vanished within a day. Local news called it poetic justice, and I couldn't disagree. Even as they tried legal threats, nothing stuck. Every fake fine, every letter, every tantrum, none of it changed the facts. My lawyer filed trespass, fraud, unauthorized construction. By the time we hit the courtroom, the evidence was stacked so high Claudia's side looked like they'd brought a butter knife to a gunfight. The judge took one look at the drone footage, boundary maps, deeds, and HOA documents and dropped the gavel. Summary ruling. The land is Mr. Carter's. The HOA is dissolved. Damages awarded for trespass and fraud. Claudia crumpled in her chair. The wind finally knocked out of her. When the houses became mine by law, by deed, by sheer patience, I felt no urge for revenge. The family that apologized, I sold their house to them fair and square. The other, Claudia's, I renovated into a little cafe for hikers and travelers. Rangers Rest, the sign said, hand-painted by one of the crew. No HOA, no nonsense. Just good coffee and better company. Locals started coming by, stories and laughter filling the air where pride used to live. Sometimes I'd walk the ridge at sunset, breathing in that old familiar mountain air. The kind that forgives but never forgets. When the first snow came, covering the past in white, I finally felt it. Peace, not because I won, but because I listened, waited, and respected the land when others tried to bend it. You know, that's the thing about justice. It doesn't always show up with fireworks or headlines. Sometimes it's a locked gate, a handwritten apology, or a mountain returning to itself. That's the story. Now let me ask you this. If someone tried to steal your little piece of peace, would you fight, forgive, or find a way to turn it into something better? Drop your thoughts below. I read every one. And if you've ever tangled with an HOA or had a neighbor try to change the rules on you, I want to hear it. Justice, real justice, isn't about punishment. It's about putting things back where they belong, one truth at a time.